Hi everyone. I am going to talk about today how to turn your pain into power, how to heal from an abusive relationship. There's so many different types of abusive relationships. And so what I'm going to be talking about can help all types of abuse, whether that is abuse physically, emotionally, mentally, financially. And I'm going to focus on abuse from romantic relationships, but these things can be applied to abuse in other types of relationships as well. So let's turn your pain into power. There's 3 things that you're going to need to do to heal, and those things are accept, take time, and do the work. So let's talk about acceptance. You need to accept that it happened to you. You need to accept that you let it happen also. And this can be kind of hard because if you're anything like me, which you probably are watching this, you are a powerful woman. You don't like to see yourself as someone who can be put in a situation to be made inferior or powerless and stay there. But sometimes when we get caught in the mix of things, and if you throw love into it, or what feels like love when it's really not love, but those things can make us not see very clearly. So you have to accept that you let it happen, that you allowed yourself to be abused. And the second step to acceptance is to tell somebody you trust. Tell a friend, tell a therapist, tell a family member, anyone that you trust. For me, I didn't tell anyone the entire time that I was in my relationship. I didn't tell anyone anything about the abuse that I experienced. But once I left that relationship, really truly decided that I would never go back, that I have so much better to experience, I felt free and I felt brave enough to tell some of my loved ones what happened to me. And it was so freeing because once you accept that you have been abused, it can kind of feel very heavy and feel like, wow, I was abused, I am a victim. But do not take that mindset. Allow yourself to tell someone and create some space, some distance between that story and you. And you will see that people have different reactions when you tell them, but it's likely that it's not going to be the most dramatic reaction ever, which in a way confirms that unfortunately this is something common that people experience and that it can be overcome, that it's not the end of the world. And those people, they will support you and they will let you know that everything's gonna be all right, and it is. Another part of acceptance is deciding that everything about you and that other person has to be removed from your life. Everything about you when you were in that relationship. So remove everything that that person ever gave you, that their family ever gave you. Delete all the pictures, all the videos, any memories, block them on social media, on your phone, please remember this is about abuse. If you were in a relationship before where the person hurt you and you feel that you can still keep them on social media and things can be friendly, that's good. But when you were abused, you have to cut everything off to heal, to become someone new, to evolve. We're turning that pain into power, that pain into pleasure. So this is about self-evolution. That old self who was with that person has to go, and the first step really is removing that person, everything about them. And you also have to accept that with that abuse was also a lot of good. There was love there, which is probably why you stayed, because the love felt good. The love felt great. And maybe the abuse made the love feel even better when it was there, because you had both sides of the spectrum going on. So know that there was good there, and that everything wasn't horrendous and horrible, although at times it was. And know that that little bit of good, or a lot of bit of good, whatever, is minuscule compared to what you will experience, compared to the love that you will attract into your life. That little bit of love and good is nothing. It's something, but there's so much better out there. So hold on to that love and watch it expand. And you can do this by using your time wisely. So let's get into the time aspect of healing from an abusive relationship. It's going to take different amounts of time for everyone, right? We all have our own different ways of healing, ways of coping, ways of moving on. And during that time, you want to accept advances from other people, from other men, and only if you like what you're experiencing, what you're seeing and feeling from them. So get to know other men, other people, and know that everyone's different. When you are in an abusive relationship, especially if it was long-term, then you might feel like everyone's the same. Everyone's gonna hurt me. Everyone is gonna abuse me, but that's not true. And a great way to see that is by putting yourself out there and experiencing other people, interacting with them, knowing who they are, getting to know them. And it's important to protect your sexual energy during this process. I would suggest being celibate and abstinent while you are healing from abuse, because you're going to need all of that potent, powerful sexual energy to do all these things, to accept, to take your time healing, and to do the work. So keep the goods to yourself, and you should really keep the goods to yourself till you're married. And get to know these people. See that people are different and that people are safe. You were with someone who was not safe. And back to acceptance, you kind of have to accept that you abused yourself first in some way in order to attract that energy. It starts within and it shows up out of us. But know that you are safe. There are people who you will feel safe with and who are safe. So also during that time, do not engage in any conversation about the person who you were abused by. Don't engage in any conversation about that. Sometimes when you're in a relationship, you mix friends, lives start to mix up. Maybe you met in the same place and you both know a lot of the same people. If that person comes up in conversation, you can kindly ask whoever you're speaking with not to do that because you are healing. Or you can excuse yourself, say, excuse me, but I have to go. Do what feels good for you to refrain from conversation. Change the subject. So many ways to do this. You can be ruthless and say, don't ever talk about that person to me again. Like, you can do whatever you want. And also during this time, date yourself. Date yourself. Show yourself that love, all of the love, no abuse. Show yourself all the love. Take care of yourself. Buy yourself gifts. If you like flowers, buy yourself flowers. Buy yourself clothes, buy yourself food. Take yourself on dates. Do the things that you want to do. Do the things that fill you up. And let's get into the work, because it takes some work. It does. You were abused, right? It's gonna take some work. It's gonna take some self-evolving, some self-evolution to get through this, and we will. You will. I did. Let's do this, right? So let's do this. You have to know where the abuse comes from. Know where it came from. Why did you allow yourself to do that? This goes back to the acceptance that you allowed yourself to be abused, that some part of you was experiencing abuse first inwardly before it showed up outward. And you can do this by journaling. I did this by journaling. And here's a few things you can journal about. Write down your first experiences with abuse. Ask yourself, when have you felt powerless or inferior? And write it down. And these things could be small, they could be big. It could have been you experiencing abuse as a child, or it could be you witnessing someone you love experiencing abuse and feeling powerless, like you couldn't help them. It could be you knowing that abuse is something that can happen because, again, you've seen it happen, you heard about it, maybe in your family. A lot of the women experience abuse in relationships and just go on like it's nothing, go on like it's just a part of it. Write these things down. Create space between those nasty, negative experiences. Put them on the paper, and that way you'll see like, okay, now I know where this comes from. Now I know why I even let this into my life. And note that, 1, if you witness someone, that's not your experience. 2, if you did experience it, that was your old experience, your old identity, and now you are creating a new one. So that's absolutely not a part of your experience. You can absolutely rebuke that in Jesus Christ's name, okay? And write down what happened in your relationship. Write down the abuse that you experienced in your relationship. This, for me, was hard a little bit because you're kind of reliving and recounting the experience, and you might even make some parts up because you don't exactly remember. I know that for me, it was hard for me to fill in some of the details because I remember feeling my body shut down and go completely numb in some of those abusive experiences. And so my brain definitely protected itself and has blocked some memories. So write down as much as you can from what happened, right? So again, this begins to create space between who you are now and that old you, that old identity. It begins to create this space so you can feel free, you can let it go, right? You're removing that energy from your body so that you can start alchemizing that new energy into something so powerful that you just don't resonate with the person you were before. So write down the story of what happened, the stories of what happened. I did this multiple times because things would come up for me that I either forgot or that I may have been in that moment realizing, wow, like that was abusive. So write these things down, okay? And know that if you feel like it is abuse, it is. Don't be gaslit or bamboozled by your partner to make you feel like it was nothing, to make you feel like it's harmless, it's a part of things. People mess up, yes, but you don't have to take any of that shit. You don't have to. And it can be something so tiny. And I want to note that a strong, masculine man, he knows his strength. He knows that he's strong. So he's going to be extra gentle with you because he knows that he has muscles. He knows that this is a delicate, beautiful woman here. I can't put extra strength on her, even use my full strength, unless I'm lifting her or something. But use the full strength. He can't use it because he knows that you are soft. You are delicate. You deserve softness. And his softness is going to be strong enough. So yeah, write down what happened. Do what you need to do. There were times where I wrote down what happened. I ripped up the paper. There were times where I wrote down what happened. I burned it, like burn, like you no longer exist. Go up into flames. There were times where, I had to like really put myself back in the situation and like recall what happened verbally, say it out loud, because I was getting that out. I was getting that outside of me, and it's gone. So now, because you were abused, there's a part of you that likes to feel pain. There's a part of you that needs to accept pain and introduce it into your life in a healthy way, right? Because with feeling immense pleasure, you have to know some type of pain. So pain itself is not bad. Abuse is bad, but pain itself isn't bad. And then once you know pain, you can feel so much pleasure, right? Because you know pain. You have to feel one to really get to know the other. And so start introducing pain into your life in ways that won't harm you. And you can do this by stretching. If you stretch, you know that sometimes it can be painful, but it's not harmful. It's actually evolving you. It's evolving your body. It's making you more flexible. It's releasing that trauma from your body, any stored trauma that you do have from that abuse. Stretching is going to get it out. It's going to allow you to feel pain in a good way and release. Another way you can do this is by going to the gym and working out or running. Sometimes it's painful to work out. Sometimes it's painful to lift your body or weights and move things. Get that pain and use it to self-evolve. Another way you could feel pain, I personally feel pain when I get waxed, right? Waxing is painful, but I'm embracing pain in my life because part of me likes it. And getting a wax means that I will have a hairless skin where I get waxed. And that to me is something to look forward to. It's not harming me, but that little bit of pain, it's a little bit painful, right? Let me think if there is any other ways. Sometimes it's painful when you don't understand something. Sometimes it's painful to do a math problem or learn a new instrument. So do something painful like that. I know for me, when I've struggled with playing a certain melody on a guitar, it kind of feels painful, but that pain is stretching me. That pain is expanding me because it's allowing my brain to do what it needs to do. It's like lifting weights for your brain, right? Lift weights with your brain and introduce that little bit of discomfort and pain and use it to evolve, alchemize that energy. Another thing, right? So we did the work, we've done the hard work, we wrote it down, we relived it, we got it out of our system. Now let's do the fun work where it gets fun. So write a list of the qualities that you want in a person. Write a full list, everything you can think of the qualities you want in your true love or loves. And write a list of non-negotiables that you will not negotiate in your relationship. So you can, on your list of things that you want, of those qualities that you want in a person, they can be charismatic, they can be intelligent, they can be confident, they can be a great communicator, right? Those are some good qualities and some examples of non-negotiables in your relationship. Could be no wandering eyes, right? No wandering eyes. Another one could be no, you don't negotiate time with your children or something like that. Non-negotiables that you just, like, if this person tries to get you to negotiate and you tell them this is your non-negotiable, they're not the one. That's it. More work is to, once you have those qualities of the person, right, you're going to want to write down the qualities that you will have once you attract that person, the qualities that you will have in order to attract that person. Those qualities are the ones that you are going to want to work on. Immediately begin to adopt those qualities so that you can attract that person or people more quickly. And take time to get to know yourself outside of that relationship. This goes back to being single and using your time to heal. Do all the things that you love to do. Form your own opinions. You may find that some of the things that you used to think while you were in a relationship were actually those opinions of your abusive partner then. They are not the opinions that you actually have. You will begin to change. Your ideas will begin to change because you don't have that unhealthy attachment anymore. You've released that part of yourself. Therefore, you will change. Accept that change. It may feel confusing, feeling like you are just changing so much and your brain is confusing all over the place. You might start to feel like you want to dress differently. Your music taste might change because when you're with someone, y'all both might listen to music and then your music tastes kind of combine. But you're free. You're new. Who are you now? Get to explore. And this is where you get to use that sexual energy. Now that you're not in a relationship or an abusive relationship, you have freed your sexual energy. And with that sexual energy, you can use it to create. Sexual energy is creative energy. When people have sex, they create a life, they create a being. And so that sexual energy can also be used to create something else. You can use it to create music. You can use it to create a painting. You can create a recipe. You can create a business. You can create anything you want. You can create a new position at your job and become that position and raise your salary. You can do anything with your creative sexual energy. And so use all that energy up. It's building up and it will keep recycling because this is the healthy energy. This is the good energy that we will be able to give to the world and receive back. When we create, we're able to give those creations to the world and then we can receive back, and then once we receive back, transmute that energy, use our sexual energy to do it all over again. And you can go to different events that you have never gone to. You can go out to eat by yourself, like do things with yourself, by yourself, and celebrate that you will never experience an abusive relationship again. Celebrate your freedom and dive into what makes you feel the most pleasure. Dive into that because you felt the pain. You've been through the pain, you've been through the gutter, you've been abused. Now it's time to use everything that you have learned from that pain and turn it into power, turn it into pleasure. You get to experience all the pleasure. All the pleasure. Even if it's simply because you went through what you did. That's an excuse or a reason. Not really an excuse, but a reason to say, you know what? I get to have everything I want. I get to experience all the pleasure. Something like that never gets to happen to me again because I said so. And now I'm going to use my newfound energy and create my life. Create an evolved version of myself. So that's how you're going to turn your pain into power and heal yourself from that abusive relationship. Turn your old identity into a new identity. If you want more tips on how to turn your old identity into a new identity, I have a course called Spiritual to Material that I will link in the description. And you can also find it at thelifeofhoney.com. I hope you have an amazing day, turning your pain into power and just feeling pleasure. Peace.